The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.
I have some good news. I guess you could call it pretty good news. We'll talk about it and see if you agree. There has been a deal reached, a landmark deal, as it's called, to protect Canada's Great Bear Rainforest, which is on the Pacific coast of British Columbia, and it is technically, by definition, a rainforest. A bit colder than the ones you normally read about,
I'll say,
or visit, or see on television. But indigenous tribes, which it blows me away that indigenous tribes are living here. I mean, I guess they do in Alaska as well, and it's just Siberia.
right?
Timber firms, environmental groups have all welcomed this deal, and logging will be banned across a very large portion of this rainforest, basically about 85%. And strict regulated logging will be able to take place in 15% of the rainforest. Now, it seems that everybody is happy here, but couldn't the Canadian government say, I know logging is big business, I know, but couldn't they say this is completely off limits?
Yeah, of course they could. We know that there's corporate interest at play. You have to remember that the government also makes money from the collection of taxes from the businesses that are doing the logging. I mean, it's not just so simple that the interests are of just saying no logging whatsoever. These deals are pretty common. We've seen these deals made in the rainforest in South America as well. We've talked about those over the last couple of years. So yeah, I mean, conceivably that could happen, but when you consider real politics sort of at play, it doesn't often go that way.
Now, this deal has been in the works for 10 years of tense negotiations, as it's being referred to here. And there's also some hunting provisions here. You will no longer be able to hunt the grizzly bear. You will no longer be able to hunt the spirit bear, which is this white black bear. It essentially looks like an albino, whatever. And that's what's going on.
How do you feel about those laws with hunting? Because you know how sometimes you hear, okay, so somebody will say, I'm against hunting. I'm just against hunting for sport. I understand the idea of communities hunting to eat, and I'm not against, I'm not a vegetarian. I'm okay with eating animals. But the idea of just going out there and saying, hey, I'm going to kill deer today because I like shooting deer. And then you hear the response, whatever animal it is, hey, there's an overpopulation problem. So one way or another, we have to reduce their population. Why not collect some revenue by having people get permits for hunting and then going out there and blah, 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 blah. How does that logic strike you? Are you okay with that?
I'm okay with that in the case of...
like the wild hog, for example, wild boar, I don't know.
In the case of overpopulation, and I mean serious overpopulation, I'm okay with that. But I expect the hunter to use the animal to, at the very least, eat the meat after the animal has been killed.
Even if it's one of these where, like, you have to proactively reduce the population, there's too many of them, they're killing livestock, they're endangering children, whatever.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's just the responsible thing to do.
All right.
And if you don't want to eat it yourself, there are plenty of things you can do with it. It can be used.
Sure.
So I expect it to be used.
All right.
And that's just my moral take on it.
Sure.
I've never hunted anything, but
would you even
like
be able
venison.
to do that? I mean, let's say you found out you don't like just killing animals for killing animals, but let's come up with an example of an animal that you eat. Okay, you eat
deer.
You eat deer, right? You would eat deer.
I have, yeah.
You
I
have
like
eaten
it.
deer. Okay. If someone came to you and said, "Listen, Lewis, I know you're not big on you're not like a hunter, but you do eat deer, right? Conceivably, you eat deer. There's an overpopulation problem with deer. Come out. I want you to kill 5 deer today. Would you do that? Would you go and kill 5 deer?
I don't know. I think I would think about it, maybe.
You wouldn't dismiss it out of hand.
Right. I'd
Wow.
consider that, I suppose. Maybe not 5, maybe 1.
Okay.
I don't know why we need to kill 5.
Well, let's just say you'd had to. I don't know.
Okay.
I
say
would.
no
I
to
don't think I
5.
would do it. I don't think I would do it. I mean, I don't. As it is, yeah. I mean, as it is, what? I don't even know what direction I'm necessarily going with that. But no, I don't think I would. Even an animal that I eat, like I eat. I eat beef sparingly. If you said, okay, I want you to go and kill the cows, and we're going to do it in whatever particular way. I mean, I know that this is kind of a weird example, but okay, let's say I ate deer or whatever. I just wouldn't do it. I don't think I see myself going out there and shooting animals.
All right. Well, Dave has spoken.
Thank you.
Anyway, I've always wanted to get up here and see this area, this vast wilderness.
Yeah.
And it's really not that far away.
No, I mean, I'd say you could go camping, but we know that usually ends up with you in a hotel room and at Michelin-rated restaurants. So
There's no hotel. I don't think there are hotels around there. They might have some of those eco lodges or whatever.
yeah, there you go.
I will say this: if next time I go camping, I'm going to make sure it is in the warmest week of the year.
Oh, but see, a lot of people hate that. They say camping when it is super hot.
When you're
a
way up
disaster.
there.
Oh, up there.
Yeah,
oh, I see what you're saying.
yeah. If you're way up there.
Yeah.
You're right. No, I would not want to sleep in 90 degrees. No way.
Disaster.
Okay. Let's talk about our favorite game of all time. This is Dave's favorite game of all time. This is also my favorite
It's not my favorite. I mean, it's one of my favorite games. As I've mentioned, my favorite video games are the various Mario games, XCOM, the various Grand Theft Auto games, and Microsoft Flight Simulator. Those are my favorite games.
Okay. Very eclectic. And XCOM, I call it my favorite game of all time. So, XCOM, what year do we think the original XCOM came out? It was for DOS.
It was maybe 90. So I would guess between 92 and 96. I don't know. 97?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think probably before 96, I would
Okay.
say. Anyway, it was one of the first turn-based strategy games where you have your squad and you go out and you combat the aliens that are invading Earth.
Right.
To this day, it is still far more complex than almost any game made today.
Absolutely.
And there were a few of those games made over the years. Very recently, there was an XCOM reboot, and it tried to stay as true to the original as possible. It
Now,
did a great job.
Is this a sequel to the reboot?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought.
This was a sequel to the reboot. So that first original reboot stayed very true to the original. It was a very good game. Still not as complex as the original. Not even close. I really liked it. And now there's going to be XCOM 2, which is not the same as the original XCOM 2.
Which was like an underwater thing.
It was you shot the alien ships into the water, and the aliens lived, and they started doing whatever, causing chaos in the water.
Yeah.
And that's a cool concept. But now
They started peeling and deveining shrimp, and you had to get out there and stop them before they could
Yeah.
devein every single shrimp.
Yep. Mollusks became endangered. Anyway, now this in XCOM 2, they're kind of changing the story here. Basically, this is in the future. Well, of course, it's all in the future, but this is the future of the future. So long after the XCOM reboot, you've lost. Humanity has lost, and now you play the role, instead of government-funded agency dealing with the aliens, you're basically a guerrilla unit. The last stand of resistance against the aliens that have won. And it looks great, and I'm just really looking forward to it. I a few years ago, I played the original again, and it just holds up so well.
Oh,
It's just such a great game.
The best.
Anyone who has never played the original XCOM, it might not be easy to do, although I think you can get it on Steam.
I did. I got it on Steam, and it's such a nightmare. I had to get something called DOSBox.
Yeah.
And then the game ran all sped up, or then the audio didn't work, or then the mouse
Yes.
didn't work. I mean, it was really tough, but it can be done. The game's like $3 at this point, probably.
Yeah, and so you do probably have to get DOSBox and run it on there. And then once you are operating DOSBox, there are all sorts of commands and options you can do to slow down the game, to speed up the game, to fix the sound,
Yeah.
and it is a huge pain. But once you finally get it working,
Yeah.
it's great. Fantastic game. Anyway, I'm very much looking forward to that. Play it if you can. If you have played it, tell me if you agree with me that you think it's a fantastic game. All right, one more quick story here. I've never heard of this guy, but Chef, is his name French? Should I just try to pronounce it
Benoit.
en français? Benoit Voilier.
I believe that's at least close enough.
Okay. This is a Swiss restaurant, a Swiss chef who was named the best chef in the world. His restaurant, 3-star Michelin restaurant, came in I guess this French list. There are all sorts of these lists of best restaurants and all that. But anyway, topping all the lists. And it seems that he has shot himself and committed suicide. The death comes months after his mentor fell ill while cycling and died. I think died. But anyway, I'm fascinated with these super high-end restaurants and that whole world and the food. And something I kind of noticed when I'm watching all of these shows about these chefs and all that is like, especially at some of these Michelin-rated restaurants, like you just don't stop. It is very stressful. You don't sleep much.
Right.
It's just work, work, work.
I mean, generally working in restaurants as a chef can be very stressful.
Oh, yeah.
High rate of alcoholism, high rate of drug abuse, et cetera, high rate of relationship dysfunction, all that stuff. If then you escalate it to like the top restaurants, then it goes up even more.
Mm-hmm. The pressure just to maintain your status as one of the best, or try and get that third Michelin star or whatever.
Especially since a lot of times these restaurants aren't that profitable either, right? They're sort of serving as a promotional vehicle for the chef or the ownership group or whatever. So then there's also financial pressure.
Yes. And it's, I guess that's why you might pay $300 a person at some of these places,
right,
or more. And it's just an incredible world. And I think in this case, maybe he was just depressed. Maybe it was maybe he was mentally ill in that way, and it was unavoidable. But you have to assume that the lifestyle played into that, and these people are just under so much stress. It just can't be healthy. But a lot of these people are control freaks. They're perfectionists,
right?
And that's what allows them to rise to the top and stay at the top, I guess. But I love eating at these places. I don't think I would want to. I don't think I would want to work at one of these places.
Probably not. Yeah, it seems like it would be incredibly chaotic.
Yeah, I guess we'll find out if it was just depression. I don't know. We'll find out. We'll see. I really hadn't heard of that restaurant, which is surprising to me.
I hadn't either. Yeah.
But anyway,
one quick thing. Yeah, before we go. So I know we're going to get emails about the uncontrollable laughter during the Sarah Palin segment. That happens like every year and a half, I feel like, or once a year, where all of a sudden something is just funnier than we anticipated it being, and it's very hard not to laugh, right? I mean, it's sort of unpredictable. I didn't even think I was really saying anything that funny, and then all of a sudden it caught me, the absurdity of what I was saying, and then that's it, right? I mean, then that's it.
Mm-hmm. The floodgates were open.
Right.
And Dave had to cut to me because his laughter was uncontrollable.
If Lewis is introducing a video all of a sudden during the show, something has happened that is unusual, right?
Yes.
I mean, it's rare that we go to you to introduce videos.
Yeah, either Dave's hair started strangling him, or Dave is laughing uncontrollably.
Right.
Or maybe those are the only two. Some type of technical glitch, I suppose.
Yeah, that could happen.
Anyway, it was very funny. And whenever we're talking about Sarah Palin, it's funny.
I mean, it was a futile attempt to use language to communicate anything with meaning. That's what she was doing, and it was futile.
Mm-hmm. It was word confetti.
Word sludge.
Word sludge. Word. It was a word grenade.
Yeah. And it blew up in Matt Lauer's face.
Yeah. Okay. We're going to come up with more ways to try and describe Sarah Palin trying to describe things.
There is a YouTube video where I think it was, instead of giving it a title of specifically what it was about, it was just Sarah Palin attempts to use language. And the feedback we got was that it was just a hilarious title, and it already set it up to be really funny.
Yeah, I saw on Facebook one of those memes, and it was a bowl of the little noodle tomato soup with all the letters.
Alphabet soup, spaghetti-o, whatever.
Something like that, and it said, Sarah Palin has just released a statement, and it was just a bowl of this all mixed up.
That is good.
Anyway, thank you, Sarah Palin, for everything.
Thank you.
The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.